let the two grow together until harvest time. I recall how years ago, working manually at La Trappe, on occasions we would be working close to non-monks, the monastery being a model agricultural centre. There would be, for instance, people sent from agricultural college to see how things were done. And it occurred to me, doing the same simple manual work next to perhaps somebody who was essentially a student, that there were two worlds meeting. The work was the same, but the interior dynamic probably was very different. And it is the same in life. We are rubbing shoulders with different worlds all the time. Who knows the state of the soul there, rubbing shoulders with us? What the past, what the unending future will be. And in the last resort, the unending future is the big question. For every soul must make it or not make it. There is no in-between. And therefore, whatever one does in this life, if that is not thought about, one is giving one's internal energy to the wrong area. Much of the Lord's preaching is actually a salutary warning with regard to this. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that provoke offences, and all who do evil. Causes of scandal would be closer to the Greek, and they are not absent in our time. One has but to think of the way that little children are exposed to things that they do not need at their age. And throw them into the blazing furnace. Modern listeners might be inclined to look back with a placid smile of reason and think that belongs to its time. But actually, as a good priest who's now dead pointed out to me years ago when he came here, referring to the other place, it's still there. And we notice the Lord's description, where there will be weeping and grinding of teeth. We might say that's the language that they had, the high Semitic tone, concrete. How can there be teeth in hell? Then the virtuous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. And into that everyone will zoom in, neglecting the other, because there is a chronological difference between teeth and hell. Hell is dismissed, forgetting that the Lord actually is using what actually might ring true. We would do well not to think that we know more than the Lord himself. It was not comfortable on the cross, and if we have a Saviour, we have someone who is saving us from something. It was well portrayed in the film of Mel Gibson. At the moment of the Passion, we have the Lord in the midst and the two thieves. Now, the fullness of the story seems to be that actually the two started not to be too happy with their situation on the cross, but something touched the soul of Dismas, possibly the words of the other, to which he somehow reacted with his last bits of human energy before petering out. But those last bits of human energy were sufficient to change the course of all eternity. And we see how very well the departure of the two souls is portrayed in clever filming. The despair of the other one and where his soul goes, and the promise of the other with that look of the Lord, captured actually by our own Frère Marie Bernard La Trappe. Aujourd'hui, tu seras avec moi dans le paradis. Today, notice today, you will be with me in paradise. He was allowed to have as his purgatory the cross, and he had full participation in the Lord's passion. He was washed clean in a fraction, and the gates of heaven were open at the moment of pronouncing it is accomplished and passing into the beyond for the Lord. Now, it's kind of important because this has also been picked up by the monastic centuries, especially in the East. In the Russian church, they have that specificity of the cross with one slanting bar. It's indicating that one thief went up and one went down. The cross is offered, placed in the midst. The choice has to be ours. And so it is well, when we hear these words of the Lord, not to think that we know too much, or that things have changed a lot in the beyond since these were first heard. There has been an update. I'm afraid we need to update our thinking. This hurts a lot when we think about those who are actually going through life not in any way calculating the risk of living all the time without grace and therefore light, the divine light and life in their soul. We need to go through life as though this were our last day. We have no idea when it will be. And so I wrote these words, thinking about these things. Grinding of teeth. When I think on, upon what? On and on and on shall go with ne'er a pause. When I behold the power of one day done, the fact of once an act, the effect a cause can have upon an aeon that shall not conclude its long beginning. When awhile I get a thought where wrought and forgot was some sweet mirth that on the earth did smile, then here, safe before this flame, I breathe a sigh of sorrow for a morrow that comes near, upon the night of sinning that was high in bliss, its long kiss, its gazing bare, its eyelids oped again, where pain alone in demon hiss is known.